So let's talk about Falzar folder edits for a while. Uh, I wanted to do this for a while because I really think folder edits in Falzar are really interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna go over the general idea, and if someone has any question, just feel free to ask, or any suggestion as well. Like, these folder edits are like what I do right now when I run Falzar, but they're probably not perfect yet. So if you guys have any suggestions onto how to improve it, I'm very open to hear them. So yeah. I think shipping costs as much as the GameCube. Damn. Drive on the right side, so that's very true. So yeah. Oh. First folder edit. It's right after the tutorial. It's literally the same as Gregor. You're just gonna open your folder, go to the last scanner. You can actually do it with this one as well, but I usually do with this one because when we do the second folder edit, we just remove this one, and it's one less input than to remove this one, but it evens out. So yeah, select this cannon. I was gonna do it fast, but select this cannon, go all the way to here, swap with this crack shot, rag this one, and that's it basically. It should look something like this when done fast. Just swap over cannon B and a crack shot, and you're good. It can also be this crack shot. It doesn't really matter. Any of those two work. So yeah, this is literally the first one. Very simple. Now for the second one, things get a bit more interesting. Like, it depends on how many chips you're gonna have at this point. You're usually gonna have 2, but since it's Falzar, you would kind of want to get an extra chip, a 3rd chip if possible. So I usually take the Fighting Robo Control 1 in Falzar. If I have a chance at a 3rd chip, I mean, I'm always gonna have a chance at a 3rd chip, and I honestly prefer having a 2nd reflector instead of having 2 reflectors instead of 2 Machins, because I can charge reflectors later in the game, and I can't really charge Machins with F-Beast. So yeah, if you only have 1 chip, which is like worst case, you're just gonna go to the bottom and swap 1 Recov 10L with 1 reflector and rag it, and that's it. If you have only 1 chip, that's gonna be your folder edit. Recov 10L for reflector. Oops. Just go to the bottom, swap reflector with Recov 10L and rag it. Really simple. If you have 2 chips, doesn't really matter if it's 2 reflectors or 2 Machins. You take out this cannon B, go to the bottom, take out both Recov Ls, and just, for example, if you have a Machin and a reflector. I actually have 3 chips. I had 3 chips in this run, just so I can show every possibility. So Machin first, then reflector, then the cannon back in if you have 2 chips, and rag reflector. And if you have 3 chips, you're actually gonna remove both cannons here, go all the way to the bottom, remove area grab, Recov 10L, Recov 10L. Remove these 3 chips, and just Machin, reflector, reflector, cannon, cannon, and rag reflector. That's gonna be your folder edit if you have 3 chips. at this point. So that's with 1, 2, and 3. That's all the possibilities basically for this folder edit. Um, you're, you're not gonna get here with 0 chips because you need a reflector at least. So yeah, I mean, you might have more chips if you took extra fights, but I don't even know what you would do at that point. It's probably not optimal to take that many fights, but I know it can happen. So you probably just remove swords or mini bomb bells. If you have 1 chip, you just cry instead of doing the edit. That is very true, Aerothar. Especially because in Falzar you know you're gonna have to buy a Recov 30s. And that is very sad. I had to buy a Recov 30s in my PB. It kind of works, but at the same time it's not the best option, honestly. Probably just add 3 to keep things consistent. I agree, Lurkin. I think adding 3 is really the best case for Falzar. In Gregor, I don't really care. I actually just like having 2 chips in Gregor. But yeah, so let me do all of them once again. So 1 chip. Just remove Recov 10L. Go with Reflector. Two chips. I kind of forgot I had 2 reflectors there. But yeah, 2 chips. And 3 chips. So that's it for this folder edit. Now, in Falzar, things get a little more interesting than Gregor. So this is right after C-type BBS, right after you go to the aquarium. Right after you go to sleep, actually, after going to the aquarium. You get an email for Navica's tutorial, and you can also do a folder edit here. So in Falzar, I usually do this folder edit here if I don't have Makan. In this case I do have Makan, but I'm gonna do it anyway just to show it. Like, if I didn't have Makan, let's just, I don't know, take this out for area grab. Yeah, it's fine. Just to show it. It's actually gonna be Canon A here, but it's fine. So if you don't have Makan, you do this for edit now. You can remove either of these cannons in the first or second slot, and you just reg crack shot. You can reg this one or the other one at the bottom, it doesn't really matter that much. Remove these 2 mini bomb bells and just put in train arrow, copy damage, and cannon A back in, and that's it. That's the folder edit if you don't have Makan. Because if you have Makan, I honestly like to rag Makan. I think it works pretty well in Falzar. It's really nice to draw it on Diveman. So yeah, it's also really nice against Aquaman, and it works for door fights, and it works for heal water, and it's not exactly horrible for Circusman either. So yeah, I actually like to reg Makan, and I do it right before Diveman because we can't reg Makan right now because we don't have enough reg memory for that. We have 11 and we need 12. See, we have 11 and Makan is 12, so we need one more, and we get that in the aquarium. So you can do the edit anytime after you get the last reg up, but I usually do it right before Diveman, right here. So what I usually do, I just remove this cannon, or the second one if you only have 2 chips and Makan is right here. I remove the cannon, reg Makan, come here, remove those two mini bomb bells and put train arrow, copy damage and the cannon back in, and that's the edit. It's really similar, but instead of ragging crack shot, I'm gonna rag shotgun. So yeah, that's the idea. Then you just fight Diveman. You can actually get a pretty good draw. That was not exactly the case, but still not that bad. So yeah, just one more time. Yeah, kind of slow, but you got the idea. So yeah, those are all the photo edits for now. And then, in Falzar, you're gonna wanna have at least 1 or 2 extra chips, like overall than Gregor. Ideally 3 actually, because we want to remove all of the B codes from our folder. So in this run, I had an extra reflector 1A. I got it in Seaside when I was looking for train arrow. Not exactly looking for train arrow, but like going to Seaside BBS. I got an extra reflector, which is really good. And if you have an extra chip, like I have reflector here, you can grab Y capsule in fish sticks comp. If you don't have an extra chips, you're probably gonna have to buy 2 Recup 30s. Exactly. I actually also grabbed the GMD in Seaside 1 that can spawn. Yeah, that's true, Aratar. There is a GMD in Seaside that you can get. It's basically in your way, like you don't lose much by taking that GMD. And also, what's up? Evolution BLU. How are you doing? Hate Hackjack? I'm talking about the count, about the chip in BN. No, it's not a streamer, I'm talking about the chip. I'm gonna try using Hackjack in my runs. Haven't got to that point yet, but yeah. I will eventually. So, but yeah, there's a GMD, and unfortunately I don't have a save state that or a map that I can show that GMD, but there is a GMD in Seaside 1, which you can get, and it can give you Reflector 1A. It can also give you Zenny, which you kinda need in Falzar, because you need an extra sneak run in Falzar, so it's really good to have extra Zenny. And that's why I usually don't destroy the GMD. Yes, it can also give Spreader a star, also a very good chip. So you need extra Zenny for an extra sneak run. So you can get Zenny, you can get Spreader star, you can get Reflector 1A. It's really nice to get the GMD in Seaside 1. And if you have an extra chip, you're probably gonna want to grab Y capsule in fish sticks, so you have 2 extra chips. If you have train arrow A, you might just keep it in the folder. If you have train arrow F, honestly you might not even want to to put it in the first place. Like in this edit or in this edit, you might not even want to have it in the folder. I still personally put train arrow in the folder, but it's up to you. But you're definitely gonna want to remove it, so you're gonna need an extra chip to replace it. So probably an extra chip like Reflector 1A or Y capsule that you can get from fish sticks, or Recup 30s that you can get from Central 2 shop. So yeah, those are the options basically. It's not really the best option to buy Recup 30s. It's not that that optimal, but like it works. And yeah, you're probably not gonna want to buy more than 2. I usually buy 2 if I really don't have anything. Like got only one chip at the start. Didn't get anything else. Like didn't get reflector from fights in Seaside. Didn't get anything, or got Zany from the GMD. Or I actually took the GMD in this run, and I got this high cannon. So yeah, if you got this, then maybe you're gonna want to buy 3 Recov 30s in Central 2. But then you have to remember to pick up the BMD and the camera, security camera comp in Lance class, because you're gonna need Zenny for judgment scenario for like the law school or whatever. So yeah, it's really important to remember to have Zenny for that. And yeah, the next folder edit is after lotto codes. Also, if you're playing JP, you can also get Hackjack instead of buying a Recov 30s, for example. It might be a good alternative for an extra chip. You can get both Element Trap and Hackjack, because Hackjack is also star coded and no elements, so it also works. And here, I know Rish, and I don't know what Aerothar does, but I believe Lurkin also sorts by elements, but I know Rish sorts by attack. So anyway, here I go into the folder right after lotto codes. Right after lotto codes, I personally sort by elements, and I remove this sword, skip this one, remove this one, go down and wreck crack shot, which is optional actually. I don't do this if I have Makan. If I mean, you can wreck crack shot because it's better for a circus man, because you can charge it for 200 damage, while Makan can be kind of hard to hit him with. He might just not move to the middle, and you're not gonna do a lot of damage. And yeah, so remove this sword, skip this one, remove, because we don't really want element trap on the top 4 chips. And you can rag it, or you can just leave it. Like usually I just do this, sort by elements, remove this, and put them in, and that's it. There are other star-coded nodes in the trader. Very nice. So even other options, maybe you can just get all your chips from the chip trader instead of going for white capsule or buying Recov 30s. I don't know if that would be faster actually. So yeah. Don't want element trap in the top 4. Honestly, I don't really want element trap in the top 4 because it's kind of slow for most of the fights. I kind of personally don't really like element trap as a chip. That's why I'm gonna try out Hackjack. So you can also just remove this sword and keep element trap in the top 4. So it's also a new coded element chip, elementless chip. So using it as a trap, kind of, at least for me it is. I personally don't really like element trap. I think it's just very slow and not useful in a lot of fights, like Heal Water for example. It's not really useful. So yeah, since it's you're gonna beast out, you might consider leaving element trap here, but in Gregor I don't. Also, because when I remove this later, I'm not gonna do any sorting after. This is also for for setting up the judgment folder edit, which is the next one and the last one. I'm not gonna do another sort. I'm just gonna remove the sword and have a double crack in here. If it was Gregor, I was gonna have a black bomb in here in the instead of train arrow, and double crack here. Since it's Falzar, I would have double crack and Vulcan 2, or double crack. I believe it's better than element trap, especially for like sky gauntlets. So that's my reasoning for not having element trap in the top 4. It's not even for the the Circusman scenario specifically, it doesn't really matter. It's actually kind of nice to have it in the top 4 for the Circusman scenario, because you can draw it against Circusman and it's pretty good. You're not gonna use it, you're gonna charge it, but it's pretty good. But for the rest of the game, it's not that useful. It's a really safe chip in a couple of fights. Like, it can be good in PEV 4, fights 2 and 3 if you really want to be safe. It really works in air conditioner comp, in Element Man split. It also works in, what is it called, under BBS fight 3. So yeah, exactly. Join it turn 2 against GBs is fine too, or even turn 1 if you get a really good draw. So yeah. If you get like crack shot, boomer, element trap, turn 1, he's just dead. G Beast or F Beast is just dead if you get that draw. And yeah, that's basically my reasoning for not having element trap in my top 4, because I do believe crack shot and double crack and Vulcan 2 are better chips for most of the fights in the game, especially Sky Gauntlets. And in Falzar, since you're gonna be beasting out against bosses, you can actually just destroy bosses up to Element Man with counter hits. I'm not really gonna talk about that. I believe Jameek might have videos on that, but you can, like, for example, Judgment in my old PB, my 215, I believe I exploded Judgment with like Vulcan 2s and double cracks. You can just counter him and just fire the chips, and it's gonna do insane damage because you've beasted out, so 30 plus damage. So yeah, that's the idea. I'm gonna do this folder edit once again. Sort by element. Remove this, skip this. Put your lotto code chips in, and you're gonna have this. So yeah, that's basically it. If you don't have Train Arrow, it doesn't really matter that much. Like, if you got Train Arrow F and you didn't want to put it in your folder, let's see, you don't have Train Arrow. What do you have instead? You have an extra reflector. There we go. Just sort by elements. Remove these 2 swords, skip this 2, and remove a white sword. It also works. Or I don't know. You can also maybe remove these 3 and just put everything in. You're gonna get basically the same result. So yeah, those are basically the options for this folder edit that I can think of right now, at least, or that I'm used to doing. Double crack is potentially way faster, but at worst it does the same 200 when charged. Yes, that is true. Double crack is, especially with like beast out and even just full synchro, double crack is amazing for Sky Gauntlets. And element trap, it's better as a charge ship for Sky Gauntlets, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, honestly. And then we have the big one, the Judgment folder edit. So for this one, we probably have a lot of options. I don't know if I'm gonna remember all of them, but yeah. First, Expo folder. This is always gonna be the same. You're gonna go in here, you're gonna remove cannon A, cannon star, go down once, remove 3 Vulcan 2s, go down twice and remove these 2 double shots or double cracks, whatever. And then you're gonna just fill in the folder with extra chips you're not gonna use, like Spoutman, this high cannon, Recov 10Ls, area grab, mini bomb swords, everything. So it's done. 30 chips, and now we've got 1, 2, 5, 7 extra chips now that we got from this folder. So yeah, back to lens folder. We're gonna actually remove train arrow, remove all the swords, reg copy damage, go down once, remove both cannon bees, go down once again, remove both mini bombs, and if you haven't removed area grab yet, you go down again and remove area grab, which is gonna be down here. And then you're gonna want to have double shot or double crack at the top. 1 or 2, it's up to you. Sometimes I put in a Vulcan 2 at the top as well. Then you're just gonna starting from Cannon A, just mash A basically, so you can have everything in your folder. You can choose to have Train Arrow A2, that's up to you, or Recov 30 as I got for just to show what you can have in your folder, or White Capsule 2. For example, I chose to have White Capsule this run, so yeah. And at this point, my folder is basically just 2 codes. We can also remove Makan, for example, for Train Arrow, or remove both for another Reflector 1A, for example, or Recov 30. Doesn't really matter. You're gonna have a lot of stuff to charge. For example, here, except for M Boomer and Air Spin, which are great chips on their own, and they can basically clear encounters alone. You're gonna have just 2 codes, A and D, and star codes, which is really good for folder flow in Falzar. And you're gonna have about 20 to 22 chargeable chips, I believe. So these are not, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I have 22 right now, chargeable chips. If you had Makan, if you didn't have any other no element chips to fill the folder with, you could have Train Arrow and Makan. So you would have 20 chargeable chips and still have a 2 coded folder. So yeah, that's basically the general idea. I don't know if I could maybe do it like, for example, remove this, go down. For example, area grab, don't have area grab. Remove everything. And for example, I got really unlucky. I didn't get extra chips, so I'm just gonna start here, double crack, Vulcan, everything here, and then like Recov 30s, and you're done. It can also work if you don't if you got Train Arrow F and you didn't get Makan, didn't get extra reflectors. You can do it like that too. So yeah, those are the options basically. You can also do it like oops. Remove everything. Then double crack everything here. And for example, Reflector 1A and White Capsule, it just works with any of those chips, honestly. And if you didn't have anything, you can also leave Makan and Train Arrow in. You're not gonna be able to charge those chips, but they are not bad. You're still gonna have folder flow. So like, you don't have any of these. Oh yeah, none of these. So you can just you also have 30 chips now. So you just want to have the best possible folder flow with the high number of chargeable chips. Yep. That's the idea. It's mostly true for Gregor too. Yep. But in Gregor we have Heatcross that can it's not as fast as some B-style options or some like just straight up chip options, but it's there. It's really safe and it works for most encounters. Heatcross I mean, so yeah. And Aquacross or Spoutcross is not as good as Heatcross, so that's why you, especially for bosses, so that's why you want to have as many chargeable chips as you can. That's the general idea basically, and those are the edits that you're gonna you're gonna be doing most of the time. Like there's you're probably gonna be thinking during the run, like how many chips do you have? Do you wanna buy Recall 30s? Do you wanna maybe, I don't know, pick up the GMD? Do you wanna pick up White Capsule? You're probably gonna think about stuff like that during runs. Just works. Que houve com o time? Encerrou as runs por hoje? Não, Matsukaze. Eu tô meio que explicando como funcionam as edições de folder em Falzar, pra meio que quem tiver interesse e pro Mogo especificamente que tá aprendendo a correr Falzar atualmente. E eu já vou voltar com as runs de Gregor sim, eu só tô meio que dando uma pausa e aproveitando para explicar as edições de folder. But yeah, that's basically it. And also Mogo, thanks for the host, man. Really appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I don't know if I was clear enough, but yeah, that's the general idea. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Also, I didn't get a heck check here because this was English. I had my save states in English, so very nice, very nice. I hope to see more of your Falzar runs very soon. Now I think I'm gonna go back to Gregor attempts. To work on is optimizing fights, which is like knowing the most efficient ways to bust. Yes, that is, I don't know, probably the person you want to watch to learn that is probably Jigumba, honestly. We all try to optimize that, but Jigumba is just a god at doing fights, at executing fights. A lot of what I do now, I learned from him. So yeah. But it's basically just remembering what chips you have in your folder and what chips can actually do damage and can actually work. Like for example, you're always gonna be looking for Boomer and Airspin. Always, if you have your draw, you're gonna be looking for Boomer and Airspin 3. And also, Double Crack and Vulcan 2 are chips that work really well. So yeah. And also like counter hit windows and keeping counter hits and stuff like that. So for example, Judgment split, you can actually save a couple of seconds by not crossing or not BCNL Judge 3 or green area encounters, for example. You need some RNG, of course. You need to actually have a good draw. You can't do it with like Vulcan 1, Buster Up, and Attack plus 10. Like, it just doesn't work. But yeah, it's honestly, in my opinion, one of the coolest things in the BN series. Just the combat, optimizing fights, yeah. Which is the shortest BN as a speed game anyway. Shortest BN game is BN1, 80%, and then BN1 single segment, and then BN5 with Ace, then BN4, and then I don't know if it's BN2 or BN6. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm gonna go back to Gregor attempts right now.